Right. Thanks for joining us on this fans forum, and thanks for all your questions. Joined by head coach Rhys Lovegrove. How's the house move gone, Rhys?
Yeah, mate, it's been all right, to be fair. I've moved a fair few times now. To be fair, I think it's the third time in the last 12 months. But no, it's been good. We've sort of moved for logistical reasons to be closer to the kids' schools and Libby's work. And then Boris decides to lock down all the schools for the next 2 months anyway. So, but no, it's been all right, mate.
Good. Right. We'll jump in now. The first question comes from Neil Baker, who asks, he's most impressed with the signings for 2021 this season. However, the three-quarter line seems a little thin, especially with Macca and Cookie departing. You've handed Prelly the 4 shirt. Does that mean he will be converting to first-choice centre, or will there be further signings to strengthen the back line on the top of Charlie Graham?
Yeah, I think it was difficult. It's been really difficult. The market's quite thin for centres that could play this in the system and the style that I want to play. Most people would know that I like to attack fairly quickly out of yardage. So we need some athleticism in outside backs, and they were just a little bit thin on the ground in the market this year. So I knew that Perel had all the aspects to his game that could be developed into a top centre. He's excited and he carries the ball well defensively. He's strong, he's athletic, and he's got a desire to learn. So I thought I'd challenge myself and Taylor as well to teach him and to add to his game. And if he's excelled at it, he's been like a duck to water in the few reps that he's got so far. We're also very lucky to have Jake Webster here, who's got a great career at playing in that position. So he's took a lead on that as well. So, and as you mentioned, we've brought in Charlie Graham for a bit of cover there. So no, I'm quite happy with where we're there at the moment.
And for those who are, of course, only just seeing the news this evening when we're recording this forum, what can you tell us about Charlie?
He's athletic. I think that's probably the overarching theme for the outside backs in recruitment and recruitment policy this year is athletic, teachable, wanting to learn. Charlie's definitely athletic. Funnily enough, I met Charlie a couple of years ago playing. I got the nod to play footy again. And Charlie was in the centre spot playing against me. And bearing in mind, I probably wasn't as quick as I thought my memory served. So I thought I'd give this young kid the outside, and he was gone. And I thought, oh shit, mental. Apologies for language. But yeah, no, so he's on my record, on my radar then. And then obviously he managed to catch Hull FC's eye and spent 2 years down there, and then he's just come off contract now. So I had a bit of a chat with Charlie, and I think we could offer him the ability part of a really good group that we're creating here at Keighley and help him with his career.
Just another one, speaking with Charlie, he's a young player. This was one that actually got asked about a month ago during Squad Number Sunday by Dan Moses, so I thought I'd bring it up now. With the professional game scrapping the reserves grade due to the COVID epidemic, is there any plans to send the younger players out on loan to gain first-team experience elsewhere, or do you believe there'll be an opportunity for every player, especially with the increased injury risk due to the lack of game time and, of course, the threat of the players being exposed to COVID?
Yeah, obviously due to restrictions, there is very limited opportunity to send players elsewhere. You're just not allowed to send them into different bubbles. It's something that we would like to explore if that happens. But I think that answer is pretty much spot on in that they mentioned COVID and injury. Every single person in this squad is going to have a role to play this year. I mean, they're going to get game time, so they've got to be ready. So that's why I've been very, very careful with who I brought into the group. They need to understand that yes, we're going to carry a bigger squad than usual, but they're all going to have to be ready to play at the drop of a hat. I was looking through my notes before, and we've already had roughly 13 instances of injury in the first little stint that we did, and that was with no contact, no collision at all. And it's been a long time for these boys to be out from rugby. So it's going to be carnage. Let's be honest. You look at what happened in the NRL, and you look at what happened in Super League, and they're full-time environments that are investing hundreds of thousands of pounds and millions of dollars to making sure that their professional athletes are ready to go. I've got brickies that are coming down expecting to have 12 months out of the game and then go hit people and be completely fit for what could potentially be upwards of 20 games in a row. So it's going to be a very intense and difficult season to navigate, and everyone will play their part.
And does having obviously now 30 players as well in the squad help as well with the increased risk of injury and of course the infections by COVID?
Yeah, it's a huge help. Like I mentioned, we've already had numerous times this year where we've had people down through injury and soft tissue injury and just precautionary injuries and things like that, as well as obviously their apps going off. We're very limited with the ability to play against opposition in training games or friendlies. It gives us the opportunity to run opposed games. I mean, I can comfortably field two competitive 13s, and it gives our players an opportunity to get reps against each other, and it gives the opportunity for sort of these younger guys to get game time and to push for spots. It's often very difficult for fringe guys, so to speak, that might not be in to come to the coach and say, "Oh, what do I need to do to get in the team?" And then the answer is get game time. But if you can't get game time, how are you meant to prove to get yourself into the team? It's a bit of a double negative, isn't it? So we definitely try and create an environment of opposed and playing against each other at training to give everyone the opportunity to push the spots and get their time in, reps done.
And of course, the COVID epidemic has been a big talk point of all our lives for around a year now. How has the current lockdown restrictions affected your preparations and the squads now ahead of the season, especially now we've got that return to training start date next Tuesday, and of course we know we'll be starting our season back into March in the early rounds of this year's Challenge Cup?
Yeah, it's been difficult. I mean, obviously you'd know pretty well, chappers, that I'm a bit of a stickler for details. And a bit of a control freak when it comes to my area and particularly Cougars rugby department, so to speak. So trying to get everything in place in an environment that the information's been changing daily, weekly. I mean, like, especially in the last 2 weeks, it's just been unbelievable. So I'll get plans prepped and get things in place, and then some new information will come out, or Boros will change a rule, and all of a sudden it all goes out the window, and I'll have to reapply the same amount of time to and to be fair, the club, the team has been unbelievable. A couple of full-time environments that are currently started back, and it's interesting hearing them tell me all the issues that they've had with their full-time players, that we've had none of that. And I'm really proud of the group and how they've responded to the standards that we've set as a club and as an organisation. And may it continue.
The next question comes from Nathan Burton, who asks, with players such as Muzzer, Q and Santi joining the club, will Kessie remain as captain, or do you trust Kessie enough to allow him to continue as captain, which would then free Muzzer and Q just to play their own games without the pressure of the captaincy?
Yeah, Kessie will still be captain. So no, he's very, very good at that. I wasn't recruiting a captain when I recruited those players. I was recruiting very specific things that I thought they could bring to the organisation. Captaincy wasn't one of them. Leadership was one of them. But it's more in support of the leadership qualities that have been shown so far, which from the brief pocket of training we've had, I've seen that start to shine through from those players. So I'm really happy with how they've adapted to the organisation. But no, Kezzie's got that one sewn up. So I'm sure Scott Morrell will have plenty to say on the field when it comes to talking to reps and giving the opposition brief. So no, it'll be interesting to see how that one works.
And I'm sure referees everywhere will thank you for adding Scott Morrell to Kessie and Jake, who I know became very good friends with, especially our regular referees, Mr. Sweet and Mr. Stern, last season. Final question from me, Rhys, which actually comes from some of your old teammates actually on Twitter, Connor Robinson and Jason Netherton, who have asked if you still walk around the supermarket in bare feet.
No, I'm a bit more civilized, but there's more to that story than me. Like, you know me, Chappers. I'm a pretty straightforward sort of guy. If it's cold, I put a coat on. I mean, if it's not, I don't. Obviously, growing up back home, I didn't wear shoes that often. It's often easier to jump on your bike and go for a ride down your mates or whatever. So yeah, there was no shoes by the front door. I had to go pop out, get some milk. There was no shoes. There was nothing there. So rather than searching for them, I thought I've just got to go get milk anyway. So obviously, I used to just bomb down Mazda and that. I will admit I got stopped by an old lady once asking if I was okay. It didn't really. It was a bit of a culture shock to me, I suppose. It didn't really occur to me that English people were so stuck on making sure you dress properly at all times, so to speak. Because I think she was a bit short in the middle of winter. But it was easier than trying to find a pair of shoes upstairs, I suppose.
And finally, Rhys, before we sign off, is there anything you want to say to the fans?
No, just to keep being patient. I mean, don't lose faith. It's been a long time now. There's a lot of work been going in behind the scenes to hopefully put a team together and create a club that they could be proud of and excited to come and watch. So all I'm going to say is just hang in there. I mean, the end's in sight. Everyone keeps doing the right things, and we'll do the best we can to give them something they can expect people to watch. Hopefully, as soon as possible, we can actually see these stands full. I know that a lot of the boys are really, really excited about having the fans down the ground. So we all can't wait for that. But fingers crossed, there'll be some opportunities to watch some footy before then.
No worries, Rhys. Well, thank you for that. The fans who have asked questions, I've had them answered. So I'm sure there'll be some happy faces. And I'll see you next week when we return back to training.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, pal.